The pandemic has affected multiple areas of our day-to-day life. Today on DTV, how it has impacted local businesses right here in Davison.
And do we have some friends in outer space? DTV looks into the big question.
After a week filled with snow days, will we catch a break?
And in sports, how Davison's boys basketball team fared in a heated rivalry game. DTV News starts right now.
Since the beginning of the pandemic, the workforce has taken a massive hit. 2 years later, it is still trying to recover. Good afternoon, Davison. I'm Ryan Riapo.
And I'm Mason Palmentier. No matter how many openings and now hiring signs we see, some jobs just aren't getting filled. Tyler Scroggins sat down with some local employees who told us how difficult it's been. He joins us in the studio now with more. Tyler, why is it that people aren't taking these jobs?
Mason, record high wages and flexible hours haven't been enough to get workers in the door for many local businesses. And as a result, people are waiting longer and employees are working long, exhausting hours to make up for the shortage.
When driving down the road, you might have seen a sign like this, or even signs with wages as high as $15 an hour. But despite these enticing offers, many people aren't taking it.
We have definitely been struggling to get people through the door, and once we get them through the door, to hang on to them.
Karen Sinclair is the manager of the Davison Burger King, and she is quite familiar with the lack of applicants.
Well, I know 5 to 8 people apply pretty much every week, and only 2 or 3 show up for their interview. And we're lucky to actually grab one of those and keep them. I made a new roster list, and 10 of those people are gone since August.
But a worker shortage is not just in fast food.
I mean, yeah, sometimes if you come in on like the weekends or whatnot, you look in our department, there's been times where the things are empty and it's like, well, for me, a few weeks ago I was just trying to fill as much as I could, but it still looked kind of shabby. But I mean, you just do the best that you can.
And the repercussions of all this is something Americans just aren't used to. Longer lines, increased wait times, products not being in stock, businesses closing early, which makes for some very unhappy customers.
They're not happy about it, and they're also not happy their dining room isn't open because we don't have enough staff to run the drive-thru and the dining room at the same time.
The other problem is the understaffed employees are working extra and getting burnt out.
Sometimes if somebody doesn't show up, then it's like you have to do double the amount of work and stuff, and it's like can be a little frustrating at times.
It would appear that employment is on the rise, with over 500,000 jobs being created in October nationwide. But it will take some time for the entire workforce to recover from the chaos caused by COVID-19. Tyler Scroggins, DTV News.
Prom is still a few months away, but the excitement is already starting to brew. The event is officially set for April 23rd at the Lafayette Grand in Pontiac. The buses leave at 4 and won't start the return home until 10 p.m. If you want to go, you got to get that golden ticket. There are 636 available, starting at $80 a piece. Tickets can be bought in Ms. Albanaz's room 212 from March 7th to April 8th. When that ticket count gets closer to 0, it'll be announced, so don't worry if you can't score one on the first day. If you want to travel and eat with the same group, be sure to buy together so you can make it happen.
Our teacher parking lot has a fun new addition, and while it has 4 wheels, it's not a sweet new ride. DHS has added a dumpster solely for recycling paper thanks to the environmental club's hard work. While this is better for the environmental purposes, it also helps the club raise funds. They earn money based on the amount of paper collected to recycle. If you plan on making trips to it, make sure you're only dumping paper products, so no cardboard, plastics, or any other waste.
In today's world, there are conspiracies for just about everything, but with each coming day, one age-old theory seems to have more evidence to back it up.
It's the question everyone wants the answer to. Is there life beyond Earth? There's more evidence than ever inciting speculation about if we have some friends in space. DTV correspondent Braden Walker looked into that evidence and has more on the topic. Braden?
Thanks, guys. Well, we don't really know if there's life out there amongst the stars. The fact that our own government confirms the existence of UFOs gives us another reason to look further. The search for life in the universe has always intrigued mankind. Now, recent events have led us to have more reasons to look to the stars.
Ever since talk of UFOs and life outside our planet became popular, the US government has left us with little explanation and even denied their existence until now. These videos, captured from Navy pilots and other military personnel, shows objects moving at impossible speeds and even changing directions, a feat that existing aircrafts are unable to reach.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at that, man. Look at it fly.
Last June, our government sent out a report diving deeper into UFOs and confirming that they are truly unidentified.
We actually sent that one off to NASA, and they cut it in half.
Astronomer Buddy Stark gives us a more official look on what this report entails.
It's very clear that the government is not saying aliens. Our government was willing for a moment, to say we're not omniscient, right? We have seen 144, 145 things in the last decade that we can't explain.
The term unidentified has made many wonder, but a few groups have found themselves challenging that word. Networks such as MUFON have formed to spread awareness and find the unfound. Bill Konkoliski, a true believer and director of MUFON's Michigan chapter, believes that this report makes it easier to have a more serious discussion.
One of the great things about this report coming out is it makes it a lot easier, for one thing, to have an open and public conversation about the topic without the giggle factor.
Because of his own experience, Bill found the spark that got him to find his path to MUFON.
I was a high school senior with two friends. We were waiting in his Chevette for this girl to get home from work, a friend of ours. And as we were sitting there, this ball of blue light about the size of a car, about the height of 2 telephone poles up, went over the car that we were in, very slowly, tumbled almost like somebody throwing a football. And then as it got to the other side over us, then this white ball of light came and zigzagged, ping-ponged all over the whole sky. And then that disappeared, and a red light appeared in the middle of the sky, grew to the size of the full moon, and shrank and disappeared. It's just like, well, this is impossible, but here we are looking at it.
The idea that there is life on planets besides our own is a lot to wrap our heads around. But now that the government says there are unknowns out there, it's a little less crazy to think that we may not be alone. Braden Walker, DTV News.
This Valentine's Day, some DHS students took action to make sure all of our senior citizen friends in Davison feel the love. The National Honor Society organized an effort to create Valentines to send to various senior homes in the area. Students were sending X's and O's to the elderly, making sure they know love knows no age.
Coming up in sports, a rivalry you love to watch and feel the hate in. Chloe Hugg has a story of how Davison's basketball squad fared against Grand Blanc in the love match of the season.
And still to come in weather, how things are shaping up after last week's Snowmageddon. Maddox Bissett has your forecast.
I've been involved with sports my entire life. Coached high school sports for nearly 40 years. 4 years ago, I left the sidelines and I jumped back on the field to become a referee. Without refs, there are no games at all. Referees are crucial in keeping the kids safe, the game fair, and the sport everlasting. I'm Greg Moriarty, and I ref high school sports.
I got Jimmy Collins on the slam.
We had a thrilling matchup in the DHS gym this past week, and DTV's got the highlights. Welcome to sports, I'm Chloe Hugg. Let's get into Davison's regular season matchup with the reigning D1 champions. This first clip is just like how the first half was, an old-fashioned tug-of-war match. GB came out hot, but Davison stayed in reach. Here, Nate Richardson elevated for a floater, but Buddy Williams had a response. He'd end up with the outside the key for a nice mid-range to help Davison head into the half, trailing by just 1. The second half, however, was a different story. The Cards came out of the gates going 0 for 9 from the three-point line. A slow offense made way for the Bobcats to jam a gap between the two. With this Tabloid slam, they were up by 16. The very next play, Amonte Allen Johnson would help put the game to bed by draining a deep bucket, with the reigning state champions winning by 21 points. This past weekend, the boys bowling team had another conference meet, this time to determine who wins the singles title. They had to bowl 4 different games and tally up the totals to determine the champion. Davison's freshman, Joe Mers, dominated in his first rodeo, winning the SVL singles title. Look out for him and the rest of the guys this postseason, heading in with talent in every grade. Some Cardinal athletes are competing later today. Let's see who they're up against. The girls bowling squad is looking to retain their SVL crown. They're playing in league finals at Alert Lanes at 5:30. Later tonight, our basketball squads are playing Animal Control with Bay City Central Wolves. The girls are hosting while the guys are taking a road trip up north for the 7 p.m. tip-offs. It's been a very busy week for Davison athletes. Should we expect another massive snowstorm to affect any sports, Maddox?
Chloe, not really massive, but certainly a big nuisance. Good afternoon, Davison. My name is Matt Explicit, and let's ski right into your weather. So what we have right here is a time lapse of this morning. You may be wondering where all the snow is, but we're not really expecting anything significant in terms of snowfall until later today. So the high of 37 degrees that is forecast had actually occurred earlier this morning, as the temperatures will just continue to drop to the frigid low temperature of 6 degrees that is expected overnight into Friday morning. And then really the only partly sunny day or partly cloudy will be Friday with a high of 22 and still a cold low of 15, but we're getting warmer. And then finally, we end off this forecast on a gloomy note, but with a warm up to 38 degrees on Sunday, but still a cold low of 14. Now, I'll go right ahead and send it back to Ryan on the desk.
This Thursday's throwback video is stylin' and profilin'. Have a look at DHS's red carpet display all the way from prom on 2004. On our YouTube page, DTV News, you can find tons of old content just like this, from proms to sports and every single story we've done. Just head over to our YouTube channel and open up 20 years of DTV right on your device.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm real excited to go to prom. I mean, I'm always whipping out dance moves in here. I got to whip them out on the dance floor now.
Heck yeah, man. I'm excited to dress up and show off for all the ladies.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I know Miss Abena has worked really hard to put this together for us.
I'm just really excited to dance to all the music and be with all my friends, you know. Well, that's all for us at DTV today. Have a wonderful afternoon, Davison.